All right, welcome back, guys. Just as I mentioned earlier in a previous video, I do want to touch on the youth hunts specifically. So they have a separate a separate group of hunts that is just limited to youth hunters, and that what that means is you got to be under 18 before your hunt starts, I believe. So you got to be under 18, and if you're between the ages of 10 and 14, you need hunter education, a class certificate, whatever they require, and that can be from your own state if you're in a different state, and obviously that also means from Arizona as well. So to hunt without a parent or a guardian or anything like that, you need a hunter ed as well too. So if you're out running around, you need to make sure you have a hunter ed. If you're 16, 17, and going to be 18 years old pretty quickly, you need to have your hunter's ed. I think without a parent, I think that's the law. But regardless of that, guys, it's good to have hunter education class, regardless of your age and regardless of anything else. You should take hunter education. Number one, you get a free bonus point in Arizona, no matter what. It's called a bonus, hunter ed point. So it's a free bonus point for your life for drawing. So just that alone, guys, is worth getting your hunter education. And it's good to really just get immersed into gun safety and hunter safety and all that kind of stuff. It really does stick with you over the course of your life, and some of the lessons that you learn and some of the things that you learn during those courses really do help in the long run. So I've taken a bow hunter course and the normal hunter ed course too. Alaska requires, certain states require, if you want to archery hunt, that you have to have a bow hunting education course, and Arizona does offer that too. So I've had to get that as well. Really awesome course to take, really great for fundamentals, safety, and just approach. So anyway, let's jump right into youth hunts. A couple things I want to talk about. I'm going over some map stuff. In the maps alone, guys, I'm really going to focus on just what I like as a youth hunt, the opportunities that I feel like are the best for youth, in my opinion. There's a lot of opinions out there. I'm just one person, and I don't know everything. Just because I have an opinion on something does not mean that it's 100% accurate. It could be 0% accurate, but from my understanding and my experience in hunting in Arizona and what deer are doing on certain times of these youth hunts, what I feel like is the best opportunity for a youth hunter, whether that means you're 10 years old hunting with your dad or you're 17 running around by yourself, that's how I'm going to approach this. So there's several units, a lot of different units, as you can see when I get to the draw odds of these units, that there's a lot of youth only hunts offered. In my opinion, the best youth hunts that are offered are the earlier ones. So if you're gonna like make a decision whether you're gonna hunt, you're gonna maybe try to apply. Let's say, for example, I love 36A, B, and C. I mentioned that. I made a video about 36A, B, and C. I love it. They have a youth hunt, but it's a later youth hunt. It's the week before Thanksgiving. Oh no, actually this year it's going to be Thanksgiving week, I believe. They've changed it, but it's the week before the third rifle Coues deer hunt, and it's an any antler deer hunt. Okay. If I were living in the Tucson area and I was going to choose, hey, I want to hunt 36A because it's close to home, or 36B or C or whatever. But 33 also has a youth hunt that they specifically offer that's earlier. I would opt towards earlier hunts without question. I know it's going to be hotter, but the deer are not quite as pushed, and there are more bucks running around because these are buck hunts. These are any antler deer hunts. The 36A, B, and C hunts can be a little tricky just because they've already been hunted. Not only the mule deer and the Coues deer have been hunted for a month straight, which makes it really hard for mom and dad or you as a kid trying to find these deer that have already been pushed into some of these nasty canyons. It's just a little harder of a hunt. Now the weather is better. It's going to be cooler, and you can find deer more easily because they're going to be on their feet longer during the day than they would be in October potentially. But that's not always the case too. So don't always assume that just because it's October and it's 85, 90 degrees that these deer have to be bedded. That's not the case. A lot of these deer, they live in the desert, guys. What I like to say is when September, October rolls around, these deer go like, hey, who turned on the air conditioning? They've literally been living in 100+ degree heat for 3 or 4 months. Guys, 85, 90 degrees is not that big a deal for deer. So it's not always if it's sunny and hot that they're going to be better. They're harder to find. We are more tired. We get hot and sweaty. We don't like it as humans. So keep that in mind too when you're thinking about some of these early youth hunts. So that's just one thing. I do like both those hunts, by the way, 33 and the 36s, great youth hunts. Just keep that in mind. There's a lot of deer, in 36A, B, and C. Fantastic place to hunt. But if I was to choose between an early or a late hunt, I would typically choose the earlier hunt. Obviously, 36A, B, and C doesn't even offer an early hunt. So it sometimes depends on whether mom and dad have that time off, whether they can take you out hunting and all that kind of stuff. So obviously your schedule is important, and actually taking the kids or you having the ability to go hunting is first and foremost, because there's no use drawing a tag if you can't even go hunting. Okay, let's talk about some other ones. Unit 10 is a really, really good tag too. It's a big unit. It offers some of that early hunting as well. It's a little harder to get drawn for, so keep that in mind. Maybe you only have a couple years. Well, let's try to go hunting as much as you can during this youth hunt, because these youth hunts are designed for you to see deer and have them and have you be a little bit more successful, have these deer a little bit more available to you. One of my favorite hunts is the multi-unit hunt, is what we call the multi-unit hunt. Now, I live up in central, kind of northern Arizona above Phoenix, and we have a really cool hunt up here. It's a 17A, B, 19A, 19B, 20A. I don't know if there's a few more in there, but it's a really big group of units that as youth-only hunts, and it's great. It's an early hunt. It's a great time of year. The deer are, because they're this far north, they're going to be grazing. They're going to be out in the open. There's not an early rifle hunt before that. So it's a cool opportunity to catch these bucks still in their summer patterns where they're out in the open, grazing, hitting water more frequently. So cool hunt. That's on my list, top of my list. Another really cool hunt is that other multi-unit hunt with 29 and 30A and 30B, for the same reason. It's an early hunt, and these deer are out in the open a little bit more, and they're feeding, they're grazing, they're doing all that kind of stuff. So keep that in mind. The draw odds, you have to look at the draw odds when you're trying to do this, but most of these draw odds are pretty reasonable. You're not guaranteed one of these hunts on your first chance. I would highly stay away. I would highly recommend that you stay away from some of those 100% draw odds. I know it's alluring, and that's what I want to talk about this too. Okay, when you look at 20B, when you look at 20C, when you look at 15, the youth muzzleloader hunts, if you don't live there, if you don't know where these deer are on like a weekly basis, stay away from these hunts. It's not going to be a very easy hunt. I don't care what time of year it is. 20C has so much locked up land. I talked about it in the Unit 20 video. So much locked up land. There's gonna be a lot of pressure. It's 100% draw odds. It's a very difficult hunt overall. 20B the same way. It's not as locked up, but very, very difficult hunting for the most part in 20B. So just because it's 100% draw odds, in this case, it's one of those that indicates that the hunting really is not that easy. And again, unless you live there, unless you have good information, maybe you know a guide or an outfitter or a friend or whatever that's going to take you, that's a different story. But try to avoid your first experience hunting or taking your son or daughter hunting in one of these units just because you can get drawn. Now, if they're 17 and this is their last time to youth hunt, or if you're 17, you've never hunted deer before, then try it. And then if you're gonna try it, go to the unit that's closest to your home. So if you live in Phoenix, obviously 20B is gonna be closer than 20C. So you can end up hunting there or even scouting there by yourself more so than you would in 20C. So I hope that helps with the youth, kind of just the overall approach. There's some really, really cool hunts. Every unit's got a little bit different offering, but my top choices are 33, 36A, B, and C. The 17A, B, 18B, all that. I always get those mixed up because they split them up a couple years ago, but it's a 17AB, 19AB, 20A youth hunt. Great hunt for mule deer. And I forgot to mention these southern border hunts like 33 and 35A, another great hunt, 36. Those are any antler deer tags. So you can shoot a mule deer or a Coues deer, guys. So that's really cool. Kind of see what you end up finding. You know, if you bump into a mule deer while you're, you know, hiking around the mountains, cool, he's fair game. So it's a really cool opportunity that way. The units that are further north are typically strictly mule deer hunts. Although they are listed as any antler deer hunts, you're probably not going to find many Coues whitetail up further north past Phoenix. You may on some of the Mogollon Rim units like we talked earlier, like in 19A, you may come across a Coues deer in there and stuff like that. But for the most part, those are my top picks. 29 and 30, that group of hunts in there is really cool. Just, it's a fantastic area. Down in the Coues, the deer are lounging. It's an earlier hunt. So I mentioned Unit 10 and some of these other ones, but they're a little hard to get drawn for and not quite as youth friendly. They're not really that close to home for anybody unless you live in Seligman or Ash Fork or Flagstaff. So keep that in mind. My general rule of thumb is obviously time of year, and then before that, it's whatever time works for you. And then if any time works for you, go with the earlier one. And then if you have a couple different choices, go with the one that's closer to your home. If the draw odds look the same, so that order, guys. So what the most probability you'll be hunting is something that you will know you'll have time for in your schedule right now. We obviously can't plan for everything. Number 2, the hunt with the best draw odds, okay? Number 3, the hunt with the location that is closest to your home. So all 3 of those things really help you to get out hunting, and really something to keep in mind. So you may want to hunt in an area that is close to your home with a little worse draw odds, or you may hunt like 36 A, B, and C, which isn't the best time of year to go hunting with the youth, but there is a lot of deer there, and it's something that you guys can do together, and that's what's important. So I'm going over the draw odds. I hope this all helps, guys. Hit me up in the comments below if you have any unit-specific questions or anything like that. It's kind of an overview. I just wanted to give my opinion on it and what I've seen, and kind of where I've been successful in guiding and outfitting and taking youth hunters in the past. So I hope that helps, guys. Good luck this year. Good luck this season, and hopefully you get drawn. Talk to you later.